I am continuing teaching on relationships. And today I will be focusing on trust. Trust. Trust is the glue that holds all relationships together. It is glue. If that glue becomes weak, relationships begin to break apart. And all human relationships are held together by trust, whether it's a marriage relationship or a professional relationship, a business relationship, between a vendor and a client, teacher and students. All these relationships we have are held together by trust. Whether it's finance, held together by trust. It is not for nothing that most financial institutions, banks, insurance companies have trust in their name. At a certain point in Nigeria, almost every bank was called a trust. Standard Trust, Guarantee Trust, National Trust, People Trust. Especially when there were other public relations difficulties for the nation, with people creating embarrassing situations for everybody in that country. The banks adopted trust in their name. I've seen that trend is changing because I think they've built enough trust. But it's not only there in that country. In Ghana, when we make our social security contributions, we give it to SSNIT, Social Security and National Insurance Trust, because we need to trust them with our deductions. And hopefully, when we go on retirement, there will be something left for us to enjoy for our pension. When a parent wants to invest for his children, and he wants to invest money in a very secure way, they build a trust fund and then appoint trustees to manage that. So trust is very important. It's important for finances. It's important for relationships. The whole banking industry is based on trust. That's why when trust is undermined in any financial institution, they're going to have a lot of issues to deal with. When people are asked, people who are in relationships, want to marry or are married, as for what they are looking for, what is the most desirable quality in the person they want to marry or their partner, trustworthiness is almost always number one. Trust is not about being sexy or being attractive, although that gets to be mentioned a lot. But if you ask people, they will tell you, I want somebody I can trust, somebody I can trust to love me, somebody I can trust not to do the wrong thing. Economically, it has been determined that countries with low trust ratios have weak economies. And I can tell you confidently that in Ghana falls within the zone of countries with low trust. Countries like Norway, Sweden have high trust. And most of the time they operate some of the best economies and social systems for their people. But in countries like ours, trust is very low. You don't even need a research finding. You know we don't trust each other. There is a lot of mistrust. Because if you're going to build a big organization, the foundation has to be trust. And where there's no trust, there is no relationship. There's no trust, you cannot deal with people. So what is this trust? That is a glue that banks use and insurance companies use and people are desiring. What is it? Simple definition. Trust is a firm belief. And that is very important. Trust is a belief. It's a belief that something is true, reliable, and strong. Something is true, it is reliable, and it is strong. It's a belief that something is true, is reliable, and it's strong. We believe Social Security and National Insurance Trust is keeping our monthly deductions. We believe that. They may not be, but we believe it. And if there should be revelation that they are not, then people's trust will be minimized, and so contributions will go low. Even in church, if people don't trust, their giving goes down. So trust is important. It's a belief that something is true, it is reliable, and it is strong. I just want to read from 2 Samuel chapter 22, verses 1 and 3, a statement that David made. And he spoke these words at a point in his life. 2 Samuel chapter 22, verses 1 to 3. 2 Samuel chapter 22, verses 1 to 3. It says, "Then David spoke to the Lord the words of this song on the day when the Lord had delivered him from the hand of all his enemies and from the hand of Saul. And he said, 'The Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer, the God of my strength. In him I will trust, my shield and the horn of my salvation, my stronghold and my refuge, my savior. You save me from violence.'" I want you to take particular note of this verse. David is talking about the Lord in whom I will trust. Verse 3. The Lord in whom I will trust. So he's talking about the Lord in whom he trusts. Now, then he tells us why he trusts the Lord. He says, "I trust him because he is my rock, not my stone that is movable, my rock, something that is firmly fixed in place. My fortress, a strong building of defense. My deliverer, my strength, my shield, the horn of my salvation, my stronghold." That's why he trusts you. Now, if David had the impression that the Lord was movable, not dependable, not reliable, he couldn't trust in him. So therefore, for trust to take place, there has to be strength, there has to be reliability, there has to be truth. So for those of you who are looking for somebody to marry, If you're a young lady and a young man, let's hope he's not an old man, but a young man approaches you. If he's an old man, just tell him to marry his size. But a young man, your age. Not somebody's grandfather, your age. All right. That's for another day. But somebody comes to you, a young lady, a man comes to you, or you're a young man and you're going out with a lady, and you're beginning to wonder, is he the right person and all of that. Most of the time, the things you are thinking about is all trust related. Yes, you think, is he handsome, not handsome? Well, after you met him the first time, you know whether he's handsome or not. So, if he's not handsome, but he smiles nicely, you just take the smile and leave the handsomeness behind. You can't get the whole package. You just take what comes. But you want to ask, can I trust him that he will not cheat on me sexually? Will he be faithful? Can I trust him that when I'm weak, he'll be strong for me? Can I trust him that he will love me above everybody else and really make me feel special? These are the things you are thinking about. It's all about trust. Trust stands on three important legs. Number one is truth. Truth. Facts. Reality. Truth. It's a very important foundation for trust. Now, truth is sometimes very difficult to agree on in a relationship, because sometimes we don't see the whole truth. If I hold this sheet of paper or this folder in my hand, and it has two sides. One side, the left side, has a picture. Our backdrop is on the left side. The other side is plain, it's white. Now, if I hold this way, and there are two people, one is standing on my right, the other is standing on my left, and I ask them, what is the color of this folder? One would say it's white, and that's true from where they are seeing it. The other says it is a design of people worshiping, and that's true. They're talking about the same thing. And they may decide to argue over this and never agree. And actually, the one here seeing the white can tell this one, you are a liar, you are a liar. And the other one says, me a liar, you are the liar. You are the big liar. And the reason is because each one is seeing one side. And I'm sure if one of them moved from their side to the other person's side, they will realize he wasn't a liar. So many times in marriages, the quarrel is not really based on somebody being a liar or not a liar. It is simply they are looking at it from different points of view. And if you want to eliminate that, then you have to learn to move from your side and look at it from the other person's side. So trust is important. Truth is a foundation, but don't be in a hurry to call your spouse, your friend, a liar, simply because they are expressing a view of something you feel very convinced about. It simply may mean that you are looking at it from only one side and they're looking at it from the other side. So normally in marriage counseling, when people come with As for me, I only believe the truth. Normally, when people tell me that, I become very suspicious of them. As for me, I tell only the truth. Most of the time, they are one view people. They only see it from their view and have no tolerance for other people's views. And so cannot stand and empathize and feel for and understand how the other person sees it. Because we all see things from our point of view, believe you me. In this auditorium, I'm seeing everybody's face because that's my point of view. And some of you are seeing the back of people's heads. That's the only thing you saw in church today, back of people's heads. Because that's where you sit. Now, we're in the same auditorium, but we're looking at it from different perspectives. So, truth is a foundation, but don't be in a hurry to brand somebody a liar simply because they have a different view, unless you've stood where they stood or viewed it from their point of view. You cannot really judge their perspective. But truth is a foundation for trust. The second is reliability. Reliability. Reliability is being constant. Being constant. This refers to the quality of being predictable. We trust things which are constant. We trust that the sun will rise tomorrow morning. I don't need any prediction. I know tomorrow morning by 6 o'clock, latest, the sun will be up from the east. And it will not go north. It will go to the west. It's predictable. So I can rely on it for my time, for my calendar, and actually plan a 30-year plan, make a 30-year plan based on the reliability of the sun rising constantly. However, the rain does not rain every day. It rains, temperamentally. So I cannot make constant plans with the rain because I cannot guarantee that tomorrow morning it's going to rain. But I can guarantee tomorrow morning the sun will rise. Reliability means that people can guarantee something with you, guarantee trust. They can guarantee something. You're reliable, you're constant. And in every relationship, it's very important that you're constant. You don't want people to always be figuring you out, trying to figure you out. What is he trying to do? What does he mean? What is that? What is that? What is that? What is that? If you're in a relationship where there's what is that, what is that, what is that, there's no reliability. And something else is there, and I'll talk about that. The third pillar, or the third leg on which trust stands, is strength. Strength. Trust stands on strength, the ability to withstand pressure. We trust things that are strong. David said, "My strong tower, my rock, I will trust you." We trust things that have been tried and tested and still standing. The first time you sit on a chair, most likely, you don't test it. I mean, when you came into church today and you were ushered to your seat, you didn't take the chair, lift it up, examine the legs, is it strong? No. The first time you are introduced to a chair, you go and sit on it. However, if you sit on that chair and it breaks, the next time you go to sit on it, you will check it. Or if you have had a broken chair experience in other churches before you came here, probably you were in a church where every day you sit on your chair in church, the chair breaks. And after about 10 breaks, you got fed up and decided, let me go to icgc. Now, if you come to ICGC and they usher you to a church, I can guarantee you, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to examine the chair, knock it, hold it. Is it strong enough? Because you've had a broken chair experience. But if you haven't had that, then you're going to trust the chair until the chair proves otherwise. Because you trust that it is strong. It is strong. So, for us to trust something, it has to be truthful, it has to be reliable, it has to be strong. It can withstand pressure. So how does that affect relationships? Relationships, the trust in our relationships are broken, therefore, by lies. Much as I use the illustration of looking at it from different sides, there are people who actually lie. It's not other perspective. This is lie. They can come to your perspective and still it's a lie. There can be lies. There can be weaknesses. Trust can be broken by weaknesses, by violence in a relationship, by rage, drug abuse, alcohol abuse, and most prominently, sexual unfaithfulness. And once it is lost, you may find the other person will never trust that chair again. Because once we break trust, there is the Humpty Dumpty effect. Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. And all the king's men and chariots, is that what it says? And horses could not put Humpty together again. Now, I believe that as Christians, God can put Humpty together. But there will always be cracks to remind the king's men that Humpty got broken. And this is a fixed Humpty and not the original Humpty. Because the fixed Humpty will always have cracks. Now, there are relationships that start right from the beginning from mistrust. Because there wasn't truth. Then there is suspicion. There is non-reliability. The person is not strong. Now, if you are a man and you feel your wife is not strong, you know, there are men who say, I know my wife. She is not strong. Or I know my husband. He is not strong. If you put pressure on him, he will yield. The way I see that girl behaving, I know my husband. If you put pressure on him, these girls that are passing in front of him and smiling, yeah, I know my husband. He is not strong. Now, why would a wife say, I know my husband? He is not strong. Because she has tested the chair. And he knows this chair, it breaks. Let me tell you something for all of you who are in relationships you want to marry. If your ability to withstand sexual pressure and still remain firm before you marry helps you to trust each other after you marry. I know it will put pressure on you because your hormones are boiling. But if you can be strong and your wife knows that yes, you courted for so many years, you were together many times, you had the opportunity to do something beyond brother, sister. But both of you resisted that pressure and you stood firm. It confirms to both of you that this chair can be sat on. It's firm. But when the chair breaks all the time, especially, it goes in and out, goes in and out, goes in and out. Today is with that, and tomorrow with that other man, and with that other girl, and you keep undermining that trust. You go ahead and marry, and I'm not saying that your marriage will not work. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying it will not work, but you would have trust issues. You will have trust issues. It is better to build trust with the person you want to marry, because in marriage there will come pressure. What if you work in the office and the office sends you on a trip with a colleague? You're going somewhere else with your colleague for a seminar, for a workshop. And you're going to be on the same plane or the same bus. You're going to stay in the same hotel. How can your husband be sure that you will be firm? You have to build into your trust bank. And what you do to build into your trust bank is that you should have proven ahead of time that under extreme pressure, you can stand. Because if you haven't made that investment, then when you go, the phone calls will be coming every 30 seconds. Where are you? Hey, honey, where are you? Everything okay? Honey, how are you? Everything okay? Honey, how are you? Everything okay? What are you doing now? What is that voice I'm hearing? Who is that voice? Who is that voice? So the whole relationship becomes suspicious because the chair breaks. The chair breaks. It's important that we build into the trust investment and make investments of trust in each other.